Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of CS Cyber. I'm Chad, and today we have James Fisher sitting in as a guest host because Sean's out traveling. So welcome, James Fisher, Director of Cyber Operations here at Secure Cyber Defense.
How's it going?
It's going fantastic. We're glad to have you. And today we're going to continue our Cyber Ready Ohio episode and program that we're running. And today we're talking about choosing the right cybersecurity framework.
Awesome.
So choosing the right framework, I mean, if you read House Bill 96, it specifically calls out NIST and CIS. Mm-hmm. So I think those are the two that we're going to focus with today. But just kind of like, let's just start with like why frameworks matter, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, a framework is somewhere to start, right? Especially if I'm not familiar with different verticals, different compliance, and it gives you a place to start, and then you can focus on areas where you're strong and areas where you're weak.
Right. So it's more than a checklist, right? It's really kind of a strategic roadmap of where you want to be in the cybersecurity, realm. So thinking about that, frameworks, I see this a lot when I go out, right? Like a lot of organizations, they will have a lot of security devices or technology or appliances, and it's like they've just kind of like slapped this together. And when I ask them like, okay, well, what does this mean holistically? They really kind of struggle to articulate like what all they've done in the environment to protect it, right? So I think frameworks provide a systematic roadmap of things that you need to put in place so that you're not just seeing what technology sticks or chasing kind of what the new shiny object is in the cyber landscape.
Absolutely, and it also helps you pivot when the technology shifts. If you're shifting to cloud or some other new technology and adopting AI, for instance, right? So if that's coming in, like what AI framework are you using? Have you had a conversation about a framework for AI for your environment?
Right. So frameworks help you protect sensitive data with proven best practices, prioritize limited resources so you focus on like the highest impact areas. One like we like to use a lot is have a asset hardware inventory. Mm-hmm. That's in every single framework you're going to come across.
Yep.
And everyone thinks it's like so simple and like we have that. So few people actually have that thing, right? So
absolutely,
that's one of the biggest impacts you can make is just understanding what you're protecting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know in previous life, there'd be times I've gotten phone calls about equipment and like, where are you calling me from? Like, we don't have any equipment there.
Right.
We did.
Yeah.
And it'd been skipped over before I ever even started.
Yeah. And frameworks will help you simplify your compliance, right? It's giving you something to work towards. When organizations get questionnaires all the time of like, what they're doing for security. If you can say, hey, we're complying with NIST, CSF, we're complying with CIS controls, like that's the framework we align to. It gives you a talking point and a starting point to start that conversation.
Absolutely, and it helps get your administration get that buy-in. So if you're needing new tools or whatever else, you can talk towards, hey, here's how we're doing this, like you said, tactically. This is the framework we're lining up against. Here's the tools that we have in place to meet this now, and we need funding for whatever additional thing moving forward.
Right, and that's a good point, James. I mean, the funding aspect of that, if you can prove like, hey, we are tracking to this, whether it be CIS or NIST framework, and we have a deficiency here, it's a high impact deficiency, we need funding for this. That's a much easier conversation versus like, hey, we want this thing because it'll help us with this, or you know what I mean? Like,
you got to get that buy-in, right? And until somebody feels that, especially if they're not in that department, and you're talking to a team of people and they're just looking at money, everybody's competing for the same money. So,
right. Yeah. So, long story, frameworks can help you, get on a roadmap, get on a plan. Let's just kind of talk about the two most common frameworks, right? Like I said, House Bill 96 calls out NIST specifically and CIS. Those are really the two most common that I see people following, like out in the field. And really, what it depends, like which version you go with or which framework you go with, really, I think depends on the size of your organization.
Yeah.
So, I think size and kind of maturity. So, I think NIST, this NIST cybersecurity framework, best for like mid to large organizations handling sensitive information. Covers 5 major functions: the identity, protect, detect, respond, recover verticals. and it's customizable, right? So none of these frameworks are going to give you a specific set of instructions on how to be compliant, right? So they give you some guidelines, and it's really up to you of how you implement those security controls to get in compliance. So,
or if you don't even need that control because you don't need that because you don't offer whatever that is, right?
You may not develop software. So there's a whole section in the CIS controls talking about, software development. That's not applicable to your organization. So CIS controls, I think that's good for small to mid-size organizations. What I like about the CIS controls is it's kind of broken down into bite-sized chunks. So you have like the 20 overarching, I forget what they call them specifically, but then over the 20, you have, implementation group 1, 2, and 3, depending on the size and complexity of your organization. So if you're a small team, you're trying to do this yourself, I would recommend kind of, looking at the CIS framework, and then just start with IG1, get through that and then move on to IG2. But it's really kind of broken down into manageable chunks. And IG1 is really hygiene items, right? So starting there, we see a lot of hygiene items that just need to be taken care of. So
I see a lot of hygiene items that need to be taken care of daily. So I totally understand.
Yeah.
But even if you start off with a smaller framework, you could mature out of that, but at least gives you somewhere to start.
Right.
Because that's always been a challenge for me in previous roles is where do you start? Like I've got a million things going on. I got 1,000 priorities. What framework do I use and how do I pivot and make something actionable? Because I need to do something.
Right. And I think that's a good point. It's just getting started is the hardest point, right? I mean, you'll go out there and you'll look at, the NIST CSF framework or CIS, and you're going to download this spreadsheet and you're going to be like, oh, great.
Another spreadsheet.
Yeah, like 800 lines. Like I'll get through this in a breeze, right? So, but don't be discouraged. I mean, you have to start somewhere. So
absolutely.
Just kind of jump in and initially you're probably going to have a lot of I don't knows to these, these compliance requests. So
I know in previous compliance roles that I had in the past, even just looking at something, I didn't even understand some of the questions, right? Yeah. So like I have to read the question and look and understand what they're asking and then do research on what the question even is because I don't even know.
Right. Yeah. All right. So just kind of choosing the right framework, I think it has a lot to do with size and maturity and kind of the size of your staff as well. I think I would review both of these and just kind of see what fits best for you and what you're going to be able to support. It doesn't really mean a lot if you go down a path that you can't support from the very beginning, right? So
yeah, if you don't have a compliance team and you need 100 hours of compliance, it's not going to work real well.
Right. So I just wanted to kind of talk about our program. Here we have a vCISO program called Civic Shield, which is really tailored to House Bill 96. So depending on how you want to do this, you can go out, you can do one framework at a time, you can download the spreadsheet, you can get through this. We have a platform that will help you map to multiple frameworks at the same time, right? So I know a lot of local governments, they have CGIS, they have NIST now, or CIS. Our platform maps you to all of those frameworks at the same time. So if that's something we can help you with, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to help you. And just kind of partner with you on that. So that's all we got, I think, for today. But next week, we're going to have, what is next week? I forget which one it is. I forget which one it is, James. Public records exemption.
Oh,
I know that's a big one for cities.
Yeah, you and I were talking about that the other day.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll see you next time.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks, James.